Okay, guys, how we doing? Sam here with you. It's July 5th. We're kind of mid-afternoon here. We're going to finish up on Friday here. We're going to look at Bitcoin. Now, I'm not sure this will likely eventually get up onto YouTube, so members, forgive me here, but my marketing guys will be all over me if I don't mention this. So we've got this promo that we're running here. So for those of you that are on YouTube that have pondered perhaps joining us at Trade Devils University, this is a way to save you some dough. So the best deal here is the 4-month membership, where you save 25% off. That'll save you some dough, and that gives you a good amount of time to really come in and get through the belt system and really engage in what we're teaching to you over there. So I mentioned that to keep that in mind. There's a link. This is right on our Twitter page. Very easy to find. It'll be one of the top 2 or 3 that you'll see posted there, but you will need, here's the link that'll get you there, and then you will need these little codes here. When you're checking out, you got to put those in the little coupon spot, and then you'll get those discounts. So there you go. That's just probably the last time I'll mention that. We'll run that through Saturday, or pardon me, through Sunday night. So we'll run it all weekend. So there you go. Something to take advantage of if you're interested. All right, so back to Bitcoin here. I think we're going to ask that a certain number of retweets before this gets up on Twitter. So hopefully you guys will get to see this. Now, members, we've been through a lot of the Bitcoin a lot this week, looking at all. We did a lot of fib treatment here on Wednesday and kind of explored all of that here pretty thoroughly. So I thought we'd just work with the broader count here. Now, there's a couple of things that are kind of interesting here. So per my count, I have at this point, we've got a completed impulse here. So potentially now the one wave is in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we go, and we're seeking the second. Now, just standard ops, swing low to swing high, we'd be looking for it at the 50. Now note here the initial set of median lines that were drawn, that the market, ultimately the market draws these, right? We're just highlighting the pivots. So this little confluence down here kind of gets my eye. Right, certainly would be interesting. That's where we're looking for the second. It would be consistent with this base before we launched into the parabolic move. So that would be not, you can see it in the volume profile. There's not an unreasonable spot to be looking for that. So if we're going to come down here, now we've already had a nice little ABC. If that's going to continue, well, we'll have to see how this shapes out here. My sense of it is that this is not yet done, that there might be something more like that, right? That would be just that's you got to take that, right? If we get that. So a few things to note here. Now, one, so I'm going to pop from, this can be helpful here, and I show this quite often here, but if we pop to log scale, I always want to check and see. Now note what happens to those median lines, right? So the initial framing here, we go to log scale because we want to see a little bit better of that wave separation. But look what happens here. So we have of course our corner pocket here. So that's where the 80% is realized. Ting it, then back to it again. Now we get through and we get up to the upper parallel. Now as we hover around here, but this is part of what gives me the level of confidence that I have currently that we completed something here. So while of course, anything's possible. We could rip well beyond that. Now we're back here revisiting this count. I think there's reasonable probability that we've got our top here, and it's not just the median lines as we've shown. Oh, all right. I guess it'll just for the sake of review here. Let me go back to an 8-hour. Pop this down here. I'm going to come out of log scale so you guys can see the context here. So from our absolute high to our low, right, we went 65 to the tick. So that's the last stand, right? That's where algos are defending. That's the last stand of defense. It holds it by, that's truly a goal line stand, like held it to the tick. So we know that, so the combination of those two factors, and then add the median line there. Right now it distorts it slightly here as we go into log scale, but when we're in traditional, you can see here right to the 65. So that's likely why we stopped there, right? So we can argue about it here, but I can tell you that's why I stopped there. Okay, so from this, as we sit here now, if we're done here with the one, well, here's one other thing, just to add to that confluence here before I forget about it. So let me go back to a 4-hour here. And I'm going to stay in just our normal mode here. Now let's see. I'm going to, well, what do I want to do here? So I want to grab this trend angle here. I did notice this. So All right, with Gann, we're often looking for the 45 degrees. So I will just draw this up at a 45-degree angle. And then this can be something to check for more confluence. So if I grab that corner and then go straight up to the 45, I'm right on it, so literally within a tick or two. So our Gann angle, so now note here, so let me take this off here. All right, so now you can see here, so we've got median lines, then you've got, let's see, I'll take this off as well. Okay, so so potentially now either of these would potentially be support zones here. So if I start to put the thing back together, do any of those angles now start to give us, possibly, depends on how long it's going to take. But if we're going to hold and have a shallow wave too, then the 2x1 might do it, or the 3x1, or these are potential areas of support. Just something else to check. And it's always a process of looking for as much confluence as I can find at any given pivot, so that I can really lean into the idea that I've got a good pivot at that level. So now coming back to this, I'm going to keep it out of log scale here, so we can just kind of work through where we are. So if the assumption is as currently labeled, or my assumption is that as currently labeled, you can see I had an alert here right on the other side of the 65 that was not hit, right? So I'll keep that there because that changes things. 1, 2, 3, 4, all the subdivision is there. Now, interestingly, again, this is a bit of review for members here, but just to point this out here so you see how pervasive this algorithm is. So first thing we got to look is here from the low to the high. All right, so this one comes down from, so this is our dominant. Before we rip, what do? Right, you see you go and right, you're always, why does it stop there? Right, for the same reason it stopped here, right? This algorithm kicks in. So now, we've got this one here, but then take note here, there's likely going to be participation here, right? So for you that didn't see this, members saw this during the week, but if we're watching on YouTube, so we get right in our hot spot, right between the 50 and the 618, we know what's happening there. So an algorithm starts selling. So look how the 65 and the target are on top of each other. Boom, reaction. Okay, so now you look at that and you think, oh, okay, well, there's another one. Oh, let's see. Let me go down to a 2-hour here. I think you'll see this a little bit better. All right, so that's why, as I said to members, I don't know how anybody trades without knowing about this. You are just, it's literally blind in the market. So now, as I point out often, because we know this is a pattern that they like, this ABC and that retrace is one to absolutely pay attention to. Let me get this. I don't know why that keeps moving on me. All right, so we'd want to check both of them. So first we check this one. So from that swing low to the swing high, right? So we got golden zone here, break, but now we get through. So now we go back to the top one. Now we are back in that kill zone, right in that sell zone here of where we're looking for. Remember this pattern, we know that they respond to this, right? It's the alternating pivots. It's that move back. That's the one you want to take, right? So if this, and you wouldn't know, you don't know, right? So here, note what happens here. As we come up to the golden zone, you're teed up and ready to sell right there, right? And now, let's take Bitcoin out of it. It wouldn't matter. Whatever asset it is, you see that, you're looking for the sell there, right? So there's the target. But you know that, right, so because we have this structure here, if that breaks, you're going to take an extremely small loser there. But from the distance between if you're a front run on the 618 by a few ticks and your stop on the 65, I mean, that's a loser anyone can sustain, right? So very, very small loser, but immediately you pull back one and now you look here, right? So we get just a couple of ticks through the 50. So even though we break here in the larger context, because that's one that you need to know about, right? So there's the target. Now, if we go again, so you wouldn't move that here. So if we've gone this, if we're going to go up again, you'd still be there. It's not until we get through that 65 that we lose that sell side algo from that level. Right now, it's still very much in play. So, but remember, it's multiple time frames. It's always working. So you look here and you go, oh, maybe that's why. Well, why does it stop here? Excuse me. Why does it stop there? Right, we got right to the 50. So this algorithm got a target there. This algorithm has got a target down here. Let me put that back on. So we've just got a big fib fight. All right, so fib fight as they fight battle of algorithms here. So we have all these algorithms fighting it out. We don't know how it resolves, but now we come to it with our Elliott hats on it and go, okay, well, okay, I can see what's going on here. I know these algos are fighting it out here, but what have I got here? I got just a classic, can't be any more obvious than that ABC. That is a right. Ray Charles can see that. Okay, so now we've got now. So now, if that's an ABC, well, what where are we in the count? Well, that's that's not likely to be the second relative to the move off the low. Darn it. Excuse me, guys. I'm so sorry. It's allergies. If I move from Austin, that's why I'm moving. These fucking allergies. Excuse me. It just drives me crazy. Okay, so if we look here from the low. Oh, God, it's bad today. From the low, we have an internal retracement here. So from our dominant low here to that swing, we've got an ABC, internal retracement. So you can't eliminate the possibility here that this algorithm is going to get to its target. No, wrong one. Right? Look how many are at play here. It's actually, you've got this one as well. So this is the big one from the absolute high. That's got a target way below the low. Then we've got this one. Then we've got this one. We've got this one at the 50, this one at the 50, this one at the golden zone. There's so many here. It's just ridiculous. So now you've got to say, okay, where am I in this count? Because this could be, it is not impossible that from this golden zone, we go up here and get that target. Well, of course, it's not impossible, right? How many shit I've shown that to you over 1,000 times. This algorithm could certainly get there. What's that going to do to our count? Well, that's going to blow it up, right? It's certainly then this note would, well, let me put it in context. Okay, let me come back. So is that likely to be the 2 up from the low here? Here? We're going to put so let's put that whole thing in context. Okay, so God, can I even get there? Yeah. Can I do it on 8? Yeah, I guess I can. Okay, let's go all the way to our low down here. Okay, what did we just do? We hit the 38. Now, it's not unheard of, right? Bitcoin would be a candidate to be an exception here. So from the swing high to the swing low, ABC to the 38. The problem is not so much the 38. The bigger problem with it is the symmetry is so terribly off, right? So this December 18th through when do we pivot here? June 19th. And then we're going to correct this in, what did we do here? In 30 days, right? 6 months corrected by 30. Is that right? From June 19th to, no, less than that. That's not even 2 weeks, pardon me. We're going to correct this 6-month trend in 2 weeks. Seems improbable, right? And that's all we're doing is working with probability. So that seems like, even though technically per the range and the swing levels, it could be 1, 2. We could be going higher. Technically, we qualify here. We've got a 3-wave correction of an impulse. We're at a 38. Yeah, that's unusual, but you can't disqualify it on that. What makes it less likely is the amount of time. It would just be terribly askew. So looking at that, well, then immediately you think, well, excuse me, if it's not coming down here to the traditional where we'd be anticipating it down to between the 50 and the 618 for a wave 2, given the rip of that impulse, well, then you got to kind of look at it and say, well, what else could be going on here? Let me clear this up a little bit. Okay, so what are the candidates? All right, so we looked at the possibility here that we've got a 1, 2, and we've got an extension coming in the 5th. Can't eliminate it, but it doesn't seem likely, right? The ABC here looks like that's done. So where are we? Well, so you got a couple of possibilities. So we could have a flat, right? So we don't really know until we see what follows here. So I've got 3, but this 3 is correcting this move. So if I'm looking for more, I'm really kind of anticipating another 3 here. If I'm thinking about symmetry, so now I'm kind of, what are my choices here? Well, if I go 3, 3 into a 5, well, I got a flat. If I go 3 and then I start and I get a 5 here, let me back up. Okay, so the candidates would be a flat that the low is in, that we're up for a 1-2 and we're going to have a massive extension in the fifth, or the other candidate would be a WXY, right? Because we would have the start on it here, we would have the W in. All right, so maybe WXY. All right, well, so here's what makes that a little bit tricky here as we're trying to plan out where we might be going here. I guess take that off. So you think, okay, 3, well, what's next? Well, at this point, we don't have anything other than we've got a swing and we've got a technical retracement. So if this is going to kick a little bit higher, the shape of whatever happens next is a bit of a tell. So we want to be paying attention to swing low to swing high. We know we looked at the 50. If this is going to get more complexity here, so maybe down, and now we're going to go again, and then we start to head down, well, here's the conundrum of it. Okay, so let's say we get that. Let me stop that right there. Okay, so I've got 3 followed by 3. So I've got a candidate for either a W wave or I could have a flat, 3, 3, 5. Well, if I'm going to get a 5, so let's say we start down here and we get something like this. And we're looking, oh, okay. So that would look possibly like I've got a flat. Right? Although flat, typically, right, you wouldn't want that to be, you'd want it to be resolving closer in here. So we 3, 3. Right. Not to digress too much there, but so if we got that, you could be looking there. Now WXY is out. Right. So do you see? So now we're thinking, oh, 3, 3, 5. I've got my flat. My 2 is in. I'm at an algo target. I'm at the 50. I'm at the structure. Off we go. Right. Now that's one possibility here, but we can't quite lean into that immediately because if we get something that's a little bit smaller at a smaller degree. All right. Now let's say we get something like this. Okay. Now is that a flat? Could be. Right. Flat, looking to, we're looking for something sideways here, more of a sideways correction typically in a flat. So I got 3, 3, 5. Okay, is that the 2 in here? We're going to finish at the 38. Could be, right? Bitcoin's so strong. Well, the challenge here, and this is the conundrum of it, is that you won't know because what could easily happen here is this could just be the A of the ABC. So this could be the A, the B, and the C that gets us down to give us the Y wave of the WXY. So that's kind of always the conundrum. Now, what will help here is that how far this, this is purely speculation here, as I don't have any of this. But if this comes up here, this is kind of the map I'm laying out and anticipating. If we come up here with 3 and then start to roll over, my expectation would be that that's just the A wave here, although you can't distinguish the two, but I'm looking for this to come deeper. So if I come here, I'm not ready to jump on that on the assumption that the correction is over because it's too shallow. So while it's possible, we get the flat and it rips out of here. It's the lower probability because the better probability is we're going to make the 50 or the 618. Right? And nobody thinks, oh man, we're never going to see Bitcoin below 10K again. Well, yeah, I saw some of those tweets. Oh, last chance to buy it in 4 digits. Well, not likely. Possible, but my guesstimate is that we come ABC. So this is, but it's a guesstimate. I don't have enough here to really make any sort of prediction. So as I was relating to members, there's not enough here to warrant a new trade. Now, yeah, you could trade if this is going to retrace here. You could trade the B into the C of either the B or the X, but those aren't trades that I'm after. Those little punchy singles, right? So if you're down trading Bitcoin with leverage on a 15-minute, have at it. That's just not what I do. So for me, I want the bigger. I want this. I want this one. So I'm going to let this develop here until I get confidence in what shape this is going to take. Because here, it's just rolling dice, right? Could be, maybe, I don't know. Could be kind of short, maybe. Those are not the conditions. I see exactly what I think is happening here. Oh, I got confidence in that. That is the one I'm waiting for. This, okay, we needed it. Yeah, I'm long. So when it's running like that, I'm like, oh man, okay, sure, keep going, right? That's just natural, right? It's just human instinct, right? Greed kicks in. When it starts to correct,
it's not disappointment. It's sure you'd like to see it keep going. It's just, again, it's just a natural emotion. But I need the correction so that I can understand where the next opportunity is to be a buyer. If it's just going to rip, 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 that's not healthy for the market. We know the longer it does that, the bigger the drop that follows, because we're not building any base to fall back to. Right now, the only base we have in here to fall back to is right here, which happens to be right where I'm looking to buy it off of just these simple Elliott probabilities. But it's not there yet. So as far as I'm concerned, it's hurry up and wait. Give me more clues here so I can put together a roadmap. Right now, shit, for all I know, it's 1-2 and we're off into an extension in the fifth. I don't think that's happened, but I can't cross that one off the list. So there you go. That's my views on it. I'm, of course, like everybody, I'm salivating for the next opportunity to be a buyer here. But where? This is what I'm watching. How we get there, that's going to be the interesting part. All right, guys, that's probably enough here. I think we covered everything I wanted to get to there. Okay, all right, so just, again, reminder, last time we'll probably do it for a while that we'll do any discounting. So find us over on Twitter if you're interested. Take advantage of that. Maybe a while before we run another one. All right, there you go. You guys have a good weekend. It'll be interesting to see how this ends up resolving. All right, you guys have a good weekend.